Coming up on Mountain News this morning, we take another look at just a few of the results that came out of the election here in our region. And we have an update on a video of an assault that went viral involving students at the University of Kentucky.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
6:31 here on this Thursday. I'm Dakota Makris. Good morning to you. Well, we've almost made it to the end of the work week. Thank goodness. Let's head over to Brandon for a look at our forecast this morning. And Brandon, I'm so glad you're staying busy this morning because, you know, sometimes you just stand over there and you don't do much.
I never do much.
You know?
I'm not ever doing anything.
No.
You know, I don't ever miss teases working or anything like that. Nope. You know, no.
I cannot recall the last time I've seen you.
I'm just lazy is all it is. I'm never doing anything over here.
See, y'all go, when you all go on WYMT.com and you see web stories written that say Brandon Robinson, I wrote them, but yeah. I felt so bad that I put his name on them.
That's exactly what happens. Never mind, I'm going to be quiet. Let's get into the forecast this morning. We can talk about that. We're again looking at I-75 down at London, and that could be a touch of fog down that way, or it also could be some smoke from the fires up in Estill County. I know it's been drifting across parts of that part of the region this morning, so just be aware of that. They're still under a state of emergency from forest fires up there. We've got so many fires, and I just heard I need to double check something about another potential burn ban that we may have to add to our list here in a second, so I'll get back to you on that. Temperatures out there right now, 34 Manchester, 54 in Logan and Harlan, a lot of mid to upper 30s and low to mid 40s across our region. And across the state, 50s out west, Carbondale the warmest at 57, 37 in Cincinnati, 44 in the Tri-Cities this morning. Breakfast forecast, we are going to be seeing temperatures kind of right there in the mid-40s, splitting the difference again between those 30s and 50s, and then they'll slowly climb as the skies start to clear a little bit going later into the daytime. Or not clear, cloud up a little bit as we go later into the daytime. Dakota?
All right, Brendan, thank you. Well, the midterm election gave voters a chance to decide some important ballot measures. A handful of states put abortion rights up for a vote after Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade in June. Marijuana and guns were also on the ballot, and in Arizona, a new voter ID measure. CBS's Danya Backus has more from Phoenix.
While voters were deciding the balance of Congress, several states also put abortion rights on the ballot, an issue that was top of mind for many voters.
I would say the biggest motivator for me would be abortion rights and rights for women's health.
Michigan, Vermont, and California approved measures aimed at protecting abortion rights. In Kentucky, voters rejected an initiative to change the state constitution to say there is no right to abortion. And in Montana, voters considered a ballot measure that could mean criminal charges for healthcare workers who do not try to save an infant or fetus, including after an attempted abortion. CBS News has not projected a result on that. Here in Arizona, abortion was not on the ballot, but the state did weigh in on tougher identification requirements for voters. Results may take several days on that measure, which would eliminate the option of providing two documents with a person's name and address rather than a photo ID.
If you have your driver's license or any, passport or anything, I mean, what the heck is it going to hurt to just show, somebody that it's, that it's you? I mean, I totally agree with that.
Gun laws were on the ballot in Iowa, where voters said yes to adding gun rights into the state constitution. Oregon is counting votes on a measure that would ban magazines over 10 rounds and require new gun owners to complete a safety course and background check. And voters in Maryland and Missouri voted to legalize recreational marijuana use. But in Arkansas, North Dakota, and South Dakota, voters said no. Surveys show about 60% of voters nationwide support legalizing recreational marijuana. Danya Backus, CBS News, Phoenix, Arizona.
Another amendment which failed to pass in Kentucky was Amendment 1. It would have provided more power to the Kentucky General Assembly by allowing legislatures to call themselves into a special session and potentially extend regular sessions to end later in the year. More than 690,000 people voted no, and more than 600,000 people voted yes. Other items on the ballots across the region were wet-dry votes. Both the city of Hyden and Ravenna voted to allow alcohol in at least some capacity in their respective communities. Hyden voters decided that the city will now be a wet town. 58 people voted yes to the measure, while 50 voted no. This means alcohol sales will be legal in the city. Leslie County was one of the only 10 dry counties left in the state. Voters in Ravenna voted to allow alcohol sales at certain restaurants. 155 voted yes, while 61 voted no. In Kentucky, Senator Rand Paul, Hal Rogers, and Andy Barr easily retained their seats in the U.S. Congress. Senator Paul defeated Democratic challenger Charles Booker for the U.S. Senate seat. Rogers defeated Connor Halbleib to secure his 22nd term in the U.S. House of Representatives. And District 6 Representative Andy Barr faced off against challenger Jeff Young and won a 6th term in office. Election Day was not without complaints this time around. As of 8 p.m. Tuesday, 93 pre-election day complaints and 209 day of complaints had been called into the election fraud hotline. On Election Day, Bell, Boyd, Breathitt, Floyd, Harlan, Knott, Laurel, Lee, Letcher, Perry, Pike, Powell, Rockcastle, Rowan, and Wayne County all reported at least one call to the hotline. Knott County had one call with a complaint of vote buying or selling. Laurel County reported 3 voting machine complaints. Floyd County had several complaints, including one call of disrupting polls, one call of election fraud, and one call of vote buying. The other counties reported issues from electioneering complaints to procedural questions. Kentucky State Police announced dozens of new promotions on Wednesday. The 31 promotions were announced during a ceremony at the Capitol Plaza Hotel in Frankfort. They include 1 major, 2 captains, 3 lieutenants, and 25 sergeants. KSB says all of them will provide a more active role in serving their communities. The governor was at the ceremony and stood with each recipient when their name was called.
I want you to know this Commonwealth loves you. We appreciate you. And even if you don't hear it enough, we need you. And we want each and every one of you to be safe and come home each night to your family.
State Police Commissioner Philip Jr. encouraged each new leader to put integrity and honesty first to make Kentucky's safety the utmost priority. Well, we have an update on a story we've been following the last several days. Earlier this week, Sophia Rosing said she would withdraw as a student from the University of Kentucky. In case you missed it, Rosing is the student in a viral video who can be seen yelling at and what appeared to be assaulting a black student. But on Wednesday, UK President Eli Capilouto sent out a message to the campus community saying Rosing is no longer a student at the school and is banned from the campus. In the statement, Capilouto said, quote, as a community working wholeheartedly to prevent racist violence, we also must be committed to holding people accountable for their actions, end quote. The statement also went on to say Rosing will not be eligible to re-enroll as a student. After tragedy struck an elementary school in Texas where officials say a number of safety protocols were lacking, there's been a closer eye on improving our children's safety in schools. Each year, schools in West Virginia are surveyed to find where improvements can be made. As Kimberly Kagi explains, data shows there's still some work to be done.
Prevention is usually the biggest key in any kind of safety measure.
A tragedy in Texas, bringing the issue to the forefront of so many parents' minds. And a statewide school district survey says educators agree.
We feel that that's likely due to the shooting that occurred earlier in the year in Uvalde, Texas.
But the survey shows there's still work to be done to improve overall safety in West Virginia schools. State law changed back in 2019, requiring schools to put room numbers on exterior walls of school buildings so that law enforcement could identify the room numbers from the outside. It's an easy tool to be implemented, but data statewide shows 135 schools do not display room numbers on their windows.
As people do door and window replacements, it doesn't get put back on after the work is done. Sometimes that's a barrier.
Helping to get those schools back up to state code, Michael Whitlow, the director of school facilities for the Department of Education, says can actually become a lesson for career and technical students.
Maybe in getting some of their CTE programs to actually do that work, because applying vinyl graphics is definitely within something they can do. So I think that would be a good opportunity for our students to be involved with that.
That was Kimberly Kagi reporting. The survey anticipates it would cost nearly $247 million to improve safety and security across schools in 55 counties. Shaping Our Appalachian Region, or SOAR, is working to provide resources to the young minds of Appalachia with a fund to help flood-impacted students replace needed items and a program to offer resources about entrepreneurship to students. SOAR is focused on the future. The entrepreneurship program is the latest effort hoping to give students a blueprint for success.
We were created to provide a blueprint for the region and to build consensus around that blueprint. So we're deploying that information into communities and empowering the communities to take that in and to really establish entrepreneurship as a pathway.
You can find more information about the flood relief and entrepreneurship program over on our website.
.641 here on this Thursday morning, Friday Eve. Temperatures across the board all over the place there. 34 now, Manchester to 50, I guess it's 2 now. 53 in Pikeville's the warm, but Logan and Harlan both went to 52 really quickly there. 53 now, the warm spot over in Pikeville. They're trading out this morning. But temperatures continue to drop. 30s, 40s, and 50s. Your out-the-door forecast. Smoke in some locations this morning, like here in Hazard. And, of course, you will see the cloudy skies take over by the afternoon hours. Some early sunshine. Forest fires continue to burn across the region until we get some of that rain, which should happen overnight tonight and through the daytime hours tomorrow. Enjoy those 70s. This will probably be the last day we see those for a while. Dakota?
All right, Brendan, thank you so much. The time is 6:42. Still to come here on Mountain News this morning. Getting less sleep than needed seems to be a norm across the U.S., but it could lead to some health issues down the line. We'll have more on that in just a few minutes.